Welcome back to Tier 4 Clash. Today is Shurima Cup, Days 3. The Tier 4 team has finished second place 2 days in a row now, and now they are back on Days 3 looking to reverse their fortune or improve upon it. Reversing your fortune of being second place seems disastrous. That seems like you're going to get 7th. Depends on how the wording goes. Let's get into it. Game 1 will be starting as soon as the recording starts. I didn't even get a chance to take a look at the pick and bans because I will be honest with you, the food coma hit at a really bad time and I passed out on my seat before this Clash game began. I am awake. Fig Nation versus Monkeys in Training, MIT. Let's get started. Now MIT, as everyone knows, a very prestigious school. I am not American, so I believe it stands for like Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Highly respected school. I myself watched some of their lectures online just for fun. Honestly, a really great place. If I had the chance, would I have studied there? Perhaps not. I don't like the concept of that. But it is very prestigious, so I hold that school in particular with very high regard. So hopefully the monkeys in training coming from MIT, I doubt they're really from MIT, but the monkeys in training hopefully will put up a show that's befitting of their school, that the acronym shares the name with. Now the matchups, what are these matchups? It's going to be a Malphite top going up against Urgot. The jungle matchup is Vi against Kayn. Bot lane is Silver Lulu against Xayah Rakan. And mid lane is Ahri and Anivia. Xayah Rakan is also a combo that still exists, just not nearly as common as it used to be back when they first came out. Rakan's ability to flash engage from a screen away has certainly been neutered quite a bit since its initial inception. There are now delays between spamming buttons, so you can't just mash key after key after key to just chain down a bunch of people with no time to react. But Xayah Rakan is still very popular. But not so much for the Xayah. Rakan is the big benefactor of this combo. It just enables him to be a lot more nimble and a lot more mobile in teamfight situations. So we'll see how this pans out for him. In the meantime, we're just going to go ahead and kick off this first game here in the 3 games that we'll be casting back to back to back here. Pretty standard start, all things considered. So if you just looked at this, you just think this was a solo queue game. Nothing too crazy happening right off the bat. And who knows, maybe it plays like a solo queue game. Now Urgot level 1 goes for the disdain. Not a lot of damage. He also opened up Call against the Malphite. A very boisterous decision. And it's also one that's pretty easily punishable. Urgot already has a pretty bad laning phase as is. Meanwhile, Lulu is going to get set on fire. Losing that level 2 trade means that it's quite dangerous for the Lulu to still be as far up as you want to be. Consider the math. It takes 7 minions to hit level 2 in top and mid, and it takes 9 minions to hit level 2 at the bottom lane. So if you notice that, oh crap, they've killed 8 minions, perhaps it's time to step back if you are not close to that number, because as soon as they hit level 2, they will go for the jump every time. They do use the Rakan Ignite to trade out the Lulu Flash, so it's a nice summoner positive. Ignite is less valuable than a Flash here. Not to mention the health differential as well. Rakan goes for yet another engage. Lulu locked up and dead. Very easy first blood coming out here from the Xayah Rakan. It's something that you definitely have to respect. Just because Rakan's sitting far back, which I'm not convinced that you should be sitting that far back, but just because Rakan is sitting far back doesn't mean he can't instantly CC you. It's just the nature of this lane. And because Lulu's polymorph has a travel time, you cannot readily disengage a Rakan. Even if you polymorph them, the knockup still goes through. It's best to just constantly respect the amount of distance that Rakan can travel in this particular matchup. So overstepping a little bit there as the support. Lulu is certainly not Leona, certainly shouldn't play with the positioning of a Leona. And it is going to be first blood here picked up by red team. No room for punish. But there is the Kayn coming in. A little bit too late. They do commit 3 people, but the Scuttle's already dead. So once again, net positive advantage over to MIT. Olivia is going to get charmed up, and then Ari comes to the realization that Ari has no mana, which means that there's no follow-up damage. Egg for life is not a very good trade at all, so Olivia walks away with +1 assist. That was a really good charm into the Foxfire combo, but it's one of those situations where you mash EWQ and then you double take on why your Q isn't coming out until you see your mana bar. Not to mention there's also an Electrocute Ari, which I suspect only has Mana Flow in the secondary tree. Please have Mana Flow on the secondary. Oh my god, let me click on her. No Mana Flow. Okay, so Cookie's Time Warp. No Mana Flow means that aside from drinking potions all day long, you will not be able to recoup your mana nearly as easily, especially pre-last chapter. So now your mana is actually a finite resource. Mana Flow ban allows you to poke a lot more aggressively. But without that, if you're just sitting on cookies and Time Warp and you don't have either, and you didn't start corrupting, you're actually missing out on a lot of health. Meanwhile, Lulu's gonna get ganked yet again. Zaya picks up a second kill. Red team is coming in, hitting blue hard and fast in the early game here. And so far, they're up almost 2,000 gold very early on. Definitely not a game-ending level of damage, not even remotely close, but it is far enough that blue team now has to start trying something, because from this position they might just start falling more and more behind. I do like a Sivir's late game, but Zaya is also no slouch either. She's definitely fallen quite far from her former title as one of the undisputed best late game carries of all time. She can still do quite well for herself in the late game situation, but as far as scaling goes, I would say the red team do scale a little bit better here. It depends on which color Kayn transforms into. He either falls right off a cliff past 20 minutes, or he is consistently somewhat relevant. But Kayn is also not the type you usually think of as a scaling jungler. I wouldn't say blue team is playing on a timer, because they will always be able to play around picks, and picks are powerful at all stages of the game. But still, if the game continues in a fashion where red team continuously picks up early game leads, they can take it to snowball, where as they pick up more and more items, they get disproportionately stronger in these matchups. Now, Urgot is going to pick up a Kindle Gem with his 800 gold. I've seen worse places to spend 800 gold, so I won't comment on that too much. And then we're level 6, goes for the Glacial Storm poke under the tower because she is feeling it. The mana regen here with the tier is enough to keep the Nivea going for a while. Another charm lands. Once again, Ari out of mana. This is why you kind of need to get Corrupting Pot if you are going Time Warp Tonic. Time Warp Tonic has a lot of value if you have potions on you. And if you're limiting yourself to just a few health potions plus 3 cookies for the entire game, the rune is more or less kind of wasted. Corrupting Potion is amazing. It gives you a ton of, it gives you over 400 health, like 200 mana or something like that, and it helps you trade a lot more aggressively. As I say that, there is a kill going down onto the Nivea. Ari picks up a solo kill. Beautiful play around the vision, and Nivea was not expecting that at all, so Ari gets herself on the board for a second time. Rakan goes in for another engage. Lulu's locked up, instantly killed off here by the feathers, no chance. It's a level 6 Zaya against a level 4 Lulu. So the Lulu isn't necessarily in the best shape right now. Now once again, Polymorph doesn't matter against that. You cannot Polymorph Rakan W. Fear Beyond Death comes out from the Urgot. Now the Kayn needs to dip. He does flash away. No meat grinder today for the Rakan. For the Rakan. For the Urgot. And there it is, the quickness coming in. No spell shield! At least a very delayed spell shield. Means that the Sivir gets hit by the charm. It is always worth spell shielding at, because you can block the charm and then try to juke the W with a flash. But if you just get instantly charmed, you can't. Especially if you see a Rakan press R and run at you. If you don't have the spell shield button prepped, you are going to get CC'd up and killed. Zaya picks up his 3rd kill of the game. She is working on Suri the Third, Going for... I don't even know Xayah builds nowadays. It's been so long since I've seen one. Seems like... It can't be Duskblade, and it's probably Eclipse. It could just... No, it's Duskblade. Wow, okay. Like I said, I don't know what Xayah builds nowadays. I will pretend to be surprised after the game is over. Anivia is going to solo the blue buff. And Lulu just needs to hit level 6 in this matchup. Flash is up. Definitely don't be cheap or stingy with this flash. Falling behind in levels is pretty deadly against Xayah Rakan. If you can flash to save your life, do it. And both Sivir and Lulu will have flash, so they can get themselves out of a compromising situation once every 5 minutes. Now Rakan has ulti up once again in 20 seconds from now. So he's gonna try for another crazy play. Fear Beyond Death comes out. Urgot has the ultimate, so I don't see how this is a kill. Vi is just punching a rock and wondering why her fists aren't denting the mountain. Kane's gonna come in for a counter gank. Fear Beyond Death is worn off, but here comes the Assault and Battery, holding them up. Does the Malphite ultimate, he's already used it. And this seems like it is a winning fight here for blue team. They do go 1-for-1 for now, but now the Kane heavily winning here in damage against the Vi. He's going to pop the Shadow Infiltration, and that's the double kill going over to the Kane. Meanwhile, at mid lane, Ahri goes for another aggressive trade. She is quite far ahead of the Anivia. Now it's last chapter, almost Everfrost. Mana problems mostly mitigated. Rakan flashing over the wall, going for the quickness charm play. Lulu immediately wall grosses and counter flashes her own way out. Probably didn't need to flash. Rakan already blew all of his CC, so you could just whimsy yourself and walk away, but flashing is better safe than sorry. Lulu is going to survive that one engage. It's actually flash for flash, ulti for ulti. The ignite was a little bit extra, but overall not terrible here for the bot lane, considering that blue team bot lane is currently behind. And taking an even trade like that, you would be pretty happy with that outcome. And here comes a 2v3 in blue team's jungle. That is just straight up not winnable, and the jungler mid lane falls to the ground. And suddenly red team have sent all 5 of their members. Malphite with no teleport and no ultimate, he's chosen to teleport back to the tower while Dragon is up, which means that whether this is a team or individual call, they have given up the Dragon before it has even spawned. So if the TP was not held and Malphite is going to say, alright, I will TP top, they can have the Dragon. And a Herald, that's maybe a little bit too much, but if you're saying we're gonna give that over to them, then you really need to make some advantages in the top lane with that teleport. Unfortunately, Malphite has the same speed at killing tower as approximately a battering ram made out of paper, so it will take him some time to work through those plates. Meanwhile, red team do make out like a bandit here. They get the Herald charge onto the mid lane, 2 Drakes up to 0. So super ahead here in the advantages so far in early game plates, early game dragons, and early game herald. Not to mention early game bot lane. Malphite is going to help himself to 2 plates. It would have offset the herald if only you didn't lose 4 plates from the rest of the push. And here comes the Malphite, trying to duel the Urgot again. He is quite a bit ahead of the Urgot in lane, as is expected, because this is what you get when you open call on Urgot. You pretty much say, yes, I want to lose lane. And he is in fact losing lane to nobody's surprise. Not to mention, he's going for, I believe that's Divine Thunder. That's not Strikebreaker. You don't use Warhammer build into a Strikebreaker. I wonder what the Urgot wants to accomplish here. I would have definitely just picked up Strikebreaker here to give you more backline threat. Orb Deception goes out, Electrocute damage lands. Ahri is still quite a bit ahead of the Anivia despite that embarrassing setback rather, in the blue team's jungle there right before Dragon spawn. But this is the coveted strat where you give up both dragons in the early game so you can reverse sweep them and stack 4 Infernals. And then the game's over, right? Right? Ha ha ha. The value of souls have definitely fluctuated quite a bit over the course of the introduction of rifts into the League of Legends. When it first came out, it was something like Ocean Soul is just furiously overpowered. Infernal Soul is pretty strong. Cloud Soul is pretty useless. Now the dichotomy did kind of shift a little bit. Mountain Soul is now generally the best. Infernal is okay. It's not game ending, it's just annoying, but not necessarily the strongest. Cloud Soul is still a meme, but I will never not love Cloud Soul. I think it's amazing. And if Ocean Soul has been nerfed quite a bit to the point where it's no longer the regenning monster it used to be. Top lane gets dogpiled 1v3 and just dies, and there's another trade coming out from the mid lane. Anivia cannot redetonate the Q while charmed. She is going to flash and become an egg really close to her tower. Unfortunately, Ahri is ranged. So will that flash actually do anything? It actually might! Oh my gosh! The tower tanks the minion damage! Ooh, Ahri tanks a little bit too much. A second tower shot kills her. Losing the fight to an egg is not uncommon, but it is embarrassing every time it does happen. A surprising amount of people have lost the fight to an egg that cannot hit you back. But what do you know? It's like dying to a vending machine. You'd be like, who can die to a vending machine? And then you look up the stats for death to vending machines, and it's quite high. Quite high as in above 0, because it really shouldn't be anything above 0. That's like losing to yourself. But regardless, that's gonna be a kill for the Anivia. Xayah gonna go ahead and solo up the crab. She is quite strong, although Duskblade into Zerker Greaves is certainly a very unusual combination. If you go Duskblade, you think you're going for one burst, which means that sustained DPS is not as much on your mind as this ability haste with Lucidity. So it's certainly an unusual combination, though not outlandish. I still don't know what she wants to build after this, because she's going for Collector now. Malphite goes for a 1-man ult onto the super underfed Urgot. Who secured the Herald? It seems like the answer is Red Team. They do grab the Herald, but they drop 2 bodies on the way out, so that is just thoroughly not worth it. A Herald is never worth dropping 2 bodies over, because the Herald just cannot give you 600 gold. More if you're counting assists, a Herald cannot give you 900 gold back in terms of raw capital. Unless all of blue teams just spontaneously turns their brains off and chooses to not deal with a Herald, it cannot get you that much value. Especially a second Herald, at which point you expect towers to start falling around the map now, so why don't you just go ahead and siege. But they do throw a lot of bodies onto the Herald and lose quite a few, so it is a really negative outcome for them. But who knows, maybe they can make the best of it. Blue team bites back, takes their first tower of the game. Not the first tower of the game in general, but just blue team's first tower. Unfortunately, they killed the top tower, which is, on a macro scale, the least valuable tower you can kill at this stage in the game. But money is still money, so you wouldn't say no to that. And Urgot is going to help himself to a ward in the brush before turning back onto the red buff. I hope he's not doing the red buff. He's certainly very full of himself if he thinks that he's the best candidate to be receiving a red buff at this stage in the game. That's 3 people in a very tight clump, but unfortunately blue team doesn't really have deep vision nor the ability to actually fight that. Despite outnumbering them at the present moment, they do have quite a bit of disengage for the Xayah, who can just wreck a significant amount of the blue team. Although as fed as she is walking very far up. Ahri barely misses a charm, but imagine if that charm has hit. That could be a game's throwing mistake right there, off one fell swoop. Now we are going to get... it seems like the foreplay before a team fight. But the way that everybody's positioned, you're convinced that neither team really wants to fight. Because there's not too much setup going on around. They're just going around killing each other's wards. As if you kill like 200 wards, then the other team will just surrender. They're not really positioning for a fight. There's no objective on the map to take. And in terms of wave management, it's not that good either. They're just sticking a member into the side lanes and hoping for the best. because to them minions are just non-autonomous creatures who do not have a will, who do not have a mind of their own. There is a fight breaking out here, but there's not so much a fight as much as a catch out, because Malphite will just die, and Ahri will also be taken down here by the Ignite. But meanwhile, they're gonna get something back. They're gonna scramble the egg in mid lane, bot lane rather, but mid lane is the lane that's in trouble. Herald's gonna wind down for the charge. They could have actually done with summoning that a bit later, so Herald is still full health here for this charge, and they could have taken a lot more. This is still gonna be a 3v4 situation. They do come in, Herald gets smited away, Urgot's falling very low, Rakan dashes in and throws out a feather. To no avail. Baron is up. Xayah pings it. They should reset. Like, in theory, it's possible to kill this Baron, but it would be a mighty stupid idea to do so. Or maybe you could get away with it. Who knows? Urgot's gonna go back and pick up a Tiamat for himself. I'm not sure what's sadder, like the part where he has no mythic at 20.5 minutes because he thinks that the Black Cleaver Rush is good for him, or the part where he hasn't actually finished stacking his call. He's killed 75 minions in 21 minutes. 75 minions in 21 minutes. He is CSing at an embarrassingly slow rate, which now makes him picking up Call make a lot more sense, because to Urgot, Call is a late game item. Because it takes him that long to kill 100 minions. But looking aside from him, Xayah is doing quite well for herself. Sivir has no mythic because you're rushing Monomune. Fine. You should have it by now. It is just a lack of income, more or less. Xayah is essentially 1.5 completed items above the Sivir right now. Duskbane Collector is not necessarily the best things you could buy, because I'm assuming the Xayah build hasn't changed and she's just doing something that's severely unoptimal. Xayah is a champion that scales with crit chance, so it's beyond me why you think lethality stacking would be the way out here. Urgot's gonna TP in and miss everything. Beautiful body tank here by the Rast, but Ahri will still die anyway to the Assault and Battery. Urgot flashes 2 CM to the Snouse, thinking that will get him out of danger, but that is the exact opposite of what's gonna happen. Where's the rest of Red Team? They should be making a play on the other side of the map, because the rest of their team picked themselves into an unwinnable fight. So clearly Xayah Rakan should be top side. Unfortunately to them, the other side of the map means that their own fountain, which is technically true but also very wrong. So Red Team converts nothing and they just drop 3 bodies for 1. A really poor exchange for them. So Blue Team has pretty superior fighting as of now. Urgot has no ultimate. Malphite has no ultimate. So I'm not sure why he's trying to go for this chase. It might not even work. Raz comes in, go for the knockup on the Xayah, but that's not gonna be a kill. Just chill and bring a minion wave to the tower so you can actually do something, like the Sivir did. But it is 2 dragons to 2. The grand scheme of giving up the first 2 drakes and going for the reverse sweep is looking promising right now. I may have just jinxed it. I apologize if I did, future me. But it does seem like it's happening. They just need to do this for 10 more minutes. And oh my god, this game is going to continue for 10 more minutes. And also, it's been 2 minutes since I last talked about it, and Urgot still has 75 CS. Well, 75 plus his camp, but still. His CS score hasn't changed. Yet. I mean, he killed a Scuttle, right? Or did I get it? No, he's still working on it. No, there you go. He killed the Scuttle. But he still has 25 stacks on the call. And now he's going to Baron instead of farming more. I don't know about this. If the enemy Malphite is 2 levels above you as an Urgot, you may be doing something wrong. But they are going for a Baron that is just undiscovered. There's a teleport coming down. You can see this teleport on the minimap, by the way, because they're teleporting onto a pink. But they're just gonna get it. No contest here from Blue Team. You can see if somebody TPs onto a pink ward. But nobody was looking, it seems, at the time. So I can explain that. If you teleport onto a stealth ward, it doesn't show up on the minimap, but if you teleport onto a pink ward, it will. So you teleport onto a pink ward while doing Baron, it's pretty much a dead giveaway that, hey, we're doing Baron. You just need to check with your eyes. But that's going to be a completely free Baron. Urgot improves himself to a 90 CS, but only picks up 2 additional CS kills. And he's just going to immediately die, so that's even less farming time for him. And this Baron is off to a flying start as they just lose their top laners for no reason whatsoever. Ahri may have chased up a little bit too much. Goes backwards, retreats after missing the charm. Now red team is still sitting on a 5,000 gold lead. They're not behind. They have picked some very bad fights. The Baron helps get them into the get them back into the game. But I say that as if they were losing. They're not. I don't think they've been down. I don't think they're down gold since the game started. But this is a very strange sight to be outpushed by a team without Baron when you're the team with it. It kind of goes to the point where your Urgot's kind of not a champion, but here comes the Rakan engage, and there's a massive wombo. That's just going to be a lot of bodies on the ground immediately. Sivir no spell shield for the block, and that's already 2 dead. It will make his 3 here with the Malphite. Sivir spell shields up, blocks the Rakan Q, the lowest value spell you can block. Vi cannot engage without Assault and Battery here, but Rakan also blew a lot of his CC tools, so that's 3 bodies for nothing. I say nothing, but Urgot died, but we don't count him. Sivir goes for Boomerang Blaze, but still very far behind here for the Sivir. You need the Duskblade. You absolutely need this Duskblade. You can buy it. Go home and buy it. Go just run to the fountain and buy it. Staying here with 800 health will just get you instantly popped. Now red team is overextending a little bit. There's no way you can end the game off this push. But they want to try it, and they're gonna get heavily punished for a Shadow Infiltration onto the Nivea. She's been egged up, and the rest of the damage is coming out. Zayas throws out the feathers, but it's gonna do absolutely nothing, and there's the full cleanup. In the blink of an eye, every single member of red team drops dead. Because guess what? You can't win the game off that push. Don't even try. Whoever called for the game to end there is absolutely high. Truly a monkey in training. That being said, I don't think blue team will win this game from this point on. It's now exceedingly hard for them to win. I will say the chance of them winning is like 20-80. I have faith because I believe in them, so I heavily weigh in onto the 20, but I'm stacking the deck against me. Now, given red team's macro performance so far, if you had theoretically really good macro, and I say theoretically really good macro, like a macro knowledge beyond your current tiering. Like if you play with the macro of maybe a tier 2 team, or what you expect from a tier 2 team, you could win this game with your eyes closed, because red team just doesn't understand proper distributions, wave management, objective control, and all the basic stuff. But as it goes, it is a pretty evenly matched game, all things considered. Rakan's going to go into the backline. Malphite's going to get controlled up. He's going to re-engage with the Unstoppable Force into the Wild Growth combo. The Bouncy House is coming out, but instead of a bounce, it's just going to be a whole lot of nothing, but red team is still melting. It wasn't perfectly stacked CC, but it was good enough CC for the fight to be won. Lulu walks into the Glacial Storm and dies, but that's going to be Dragon number 3, which you don't need 3 people to do. Somebody go home! Why would you need 3 people to kill a dragon when there's no enemies up? Please go home! So the ideal distribution is, because you have all the time in the world to kill that dragon, send Ahri home, defend mid, send Sivir bot, kill the tower. Kayn can kill that tower, Kayn kills the dragon and resets. And you're all back to base. And you've done a lot, but now your tower dies to minions. Oh no. Oh, that tower's dead to minions. Oh, I can't watch. Oh. But yes, you don't need to throw 3 people onto a dragon. They're all dead. Kayn has enough damage by himself. Send 1 person back home, clear the wave, send 1 person bot, kill that tower that's being pushed in. Just split your tasks. It is endgame, death timers are long. Well, in theory, it is endgame, but nobody's item. If you look at their inventories, you say this was like 10 minutes earlier, but well, that's not quite fair. They are quite. They're doing pretty well item-wise. Not quite level-wise, maybe, but item-wise, they're okay. But it is at a stage where you would consider the end game. This is now beyond average game length, more or less. So you would expect to say, well, now we can split our bodies. We don't need to all pile on a dragon. We don't need to all pile on one objective unless it's Baron. But even Baron you could kill with like 2 or 3 people. There's no sense throwing 3 people onto one objective at this stage in the game. It's a very belabored point just to say you could do a lot more after you get a team wipe. You don't have to just do one thing. You could take maybe 3 things. Sever's dead, so let's all have a moment of silence for the Sever. White's going to come in, force out the heal. Assault battery is still up. The blue smite is there. And a very, I wouldn't say very, a decently clean kill coming out. But 30 minutes in, that might spell disaster. Because remember, blue team has a naked Nexus right now. If you look at the gold lead, you say that blue team is making the comebacks. Because they have pulled off very impressive team fights against all odds. They have pulled back like a 6,000 gold deficit at one point. Now they're only down 2,000, which at this stage, more or less tied. Functionally tied. Ahri might get caught out here, and that Zayas most certainly will mean she gets killed off. That's a very poorly timed Zayas, and seems like blue team will just lose the game, which is very unfortunate of this one sequence. Poor vision setup in your own jungle means that you cannot ever afford to walk into your own jungle like that. They do get severely punished for it. I do believe the game is over here. I don't see how they can stave off this push. Lulu's gonna get controlled out. The Glacial Storm pops her instantly. There it is, and it seems like that's the that's gonna be the end of it. Inhib is up. They're just going to send Vi to slowly punch it down. Meanwhile, the rest dogpiles onto the Nexus. Malphite gets a very impressive unstoppable force. Sivir needs a few more boomerangs and sets the Anivia into an egg. But the rest of red team is still contributing damage. Even though Xayah decides to auto-attack the Malphite, it seems like that's not gonna matter. GG is called. Team Fig loses game 1, so they will be knocked down into the constellation bracket, automatically placing the lowest that they've ever placed, I think. So we're going to wait a while, hop into game 2, and we're gonna wait for them to finish pick and bans. Let's check. Let's take a look at the damage charts here. Yeah, it's right. It's more or less what you think you see here. Sivir second highest, Ahri is the highest. They were the ones pulling out the damage. The Sivir item timings were quite late because of a pretty bad lack of income. I think bot lane was put a little bit too far behind. It's a lot of the cases where you kind of have to respect the Rakan. And if you don't respect the Rakan, you get put so far behind.
I was like, where the hell is Logan?
I was casting, but I didn't have time to stream it. And I didn't have time to up-tab in the game.
For the second part, or like the 2 other games. Hopefully.
Now we could go back and look at some moments of that game. Although I don't actually have specific moments that I want to talk about in depth. So we'll just look over some places. Alright, let's load up the replay.
Welcome to the Zong Clash.
So one of the first moments is here actually.
Is this the non-Red Bull sponsored replay?
Yes, the non-Red Bull sponsored replay. So this is the part where you have to do math, because this is a situation where actually put blue team pretty far behind. So we play this minigame here called Count the Minions. So in the solo lane, it takes 7 minions to hit level 2. In the bottom lane, it takes 9. So we're going to play this out and see how many minions each team has killed. So far, the first minion wave is fully dead. Blue team has killed 6 minions. Red team has killed 7. And because Rakan has this nifty item that can kill minions from half health, he will pick up 8 and 9 very quickly. So at here, they've already hit level 2. And the problem is, blue team is already out of position. As soon as they hit level 2 off this position, it's pretty screwed here for Lulu. Rakan hits level 2. He started the game with W, so yay. but he is going to be able to level 2 and then go for a pick onto the Lulu, who is a little bit too far up right now. Stepping here, and Rakan sees the opportunity, he goes for a pounce. So Lulu's already a little bit too far up at this stage in the game. He could have just instantly pounced the Lulu right there, and it wouldn't have mattered. But there it is. He goes over to level 2, and because blue team is still so slow at killing the minions, they're still level 1. They needed this minion dead. You don't have a shoulder guard or relic shield support, which means that you're slower at killing the minions early on. And it shows, it really does. Rakan goes in for this engage, instant ignite, and that's so much damage you just force the Lulu out. And from here, the game is already, the lane rather, is already pretty hard to win. And if you fast forward a little bit, Rakan has no ignite, great. The Lulu is going to die soon here for first blood. So once again, this is a very aggressive position. When you match up against Rakan, especially with a Xayah support, you have to think of Rakan's position as constantly being beside the AD carry, even if he's far behind, because he has a dash. So in this position, Lulu is pretty far up. They know that she has no flash. And that's a pretty fast kill here coming out. That's first blood for the Rakan.
I'm actually surprised Rakan was not banned.
It comes out like usually you pick Xayah Rakan in the same rotation. Xayah Rakan is not necessarily like the combo anymore, where there was a point where if you saw one, you just ban the other in the next ban rotation. That's why people pick Xayah Rakan in the same rotation. I don't think that combo is nearly as strong nowadays as it was back then, but it's always something to keep in the back of your mind.
Rakan wasn't banned because his name was Rakan out.
Ah, yes. I wonder if it's a one trick.
As we've learned, usually when their name is the name of the champion, they're one trick.
Yeah, I wonder if that's a one trick. And the second point, I talked about this to death during the cast, but this is a fight where they're pretty far down, their base is getting hammered, they take this super advantageous winning fight, and yay, they won the fight, right? So once you win the fight, this is where you kind of stop calming the team fights, because you know that we won the team fight. This is where you start discussing, hey, what we're going to do with this man advantage. So if you look at the rest of the map, that's a really good way to push, but the person with teleport is dead.
Across the map.
Yeah, person with teleport is dead, you shouldn't be pushing that. This looks promising, you could kill that tower, it's 28 minutes in. This tower is still alive, that shouldn't be a thing. This dragon is obviously ripe for the taking, so you should take this dragon. You should look for a way to kill this tower. But also here, there's a ton of super minions coming down this lane. So really, there's one thing you can think about. You win this team fight with a 5-for-2 trade, and they're not going to be up for a long time. So really, this is where you say, we don't need all 3 people on this dragon. You can send one person bot here, start working on that tower, send one person mid, work on that. And you can just have one person slowly kill this dragon. 8,000 health is genuinely not a lot at this stage in the game. So this is where somebody should really be recalling, or somebody should really be coming here. Somebody should really be recalling, but instead they all stay for this one dragon. Still a very delayed back. Please recall. So this recall is coming out super late. So by the time Silver hits base, this tower is dead. And because this tower is now dead, it becomes super hard to win this game, even though in theory, red team is at the stage where they can't out teamfight you. Now they have a way to win the game. They can just keep on throwing bodies at this nexus. So there were some super delayed recalls coming up here. The third point here is how the game was ultimately lost. There is one thing here where you scout out the Vi, or at least I believe the blue were spotted out the Vi. I'd be surprised.
I think we should watch, yeah.
Yeah, let's see blue team's vision. Did you see this Vi?
I don't think we saw her.
It seems like the blue ward was decently close to her. Let's see. Well, no,
okay,
you see the Vi. Okay,
yeah,
you see the Vi. So you pick, you see the Vi. Okay, you see the Vi. Please leave. Please leave. Please leave. And like you don't have to do this push if you killed this tower 2 minutes ago. And there it is. You cannot escape from her. This is a dead Sivir as soon as you encounter her. So this is already pretty rough, because 30 minutes in you lose your AD carry. So now what do you do for the rest? Now you just have to turtle until your ADC comes up. Even if they go for Baron, you just let them have it because you have an open nexus. You can't leave your base with an inhib down. They're going to try for a pick mid. They do get the Nivea flash. Just net positive for them. But this is already kind of an overcommit. So let's look at the vision situation here. It is not safe to walk through here. You know there's 2 people around this vicinity. You know there's an unknown number of threats anywhere here. So walking this way instead of down means that Urgot can walk in. And then Rakan follows him. And then Vi is over the wall. And then they're going to take out all your vision. So now you should really, once again, no ADC, 4v5 at best, even if Malphite instantly TPs. So really, walk this way, back to your base, and stall it out. But instead, walking this way means that as soon they were still there killing your vision. So this is a super caught Ahri. And unfortunately, because blue team was winning team fights, you can no longer win the game because you have just been caught out. Really walking this way was objectively the only correct decision. And that sequence of events ends the game because now this is a 5v2 and no matter what you do, they can just hit this Nexus. And they do. It takes them significantly longer to kill the Nexus, but they kill the Nexus nonetheless. And oh look, Urgot finished his call. Oh, actually I do need to check this. When did he finish his call? Because I was memeing at him about this. So he bought call. He opened the game with call. Let's establish this. He opened this game with call. He didn't buy it on first back or something. Now we're gonna go to around when you expect to finish a call. Let's 12 minutes. It's 12 minutes in. He's got 58 left. He's killed 42 minions in 12 minutes. Okay, pretty bad at CSing. We'll give him that. Let's go to 20 minutes.
He is diff.
He is at 25 stacks left on the call. He has killed 75 creeps in 20 minutes. Let's go to 22.5 minutes. He is at 25 stacks on the call. He hasn't killed a single minion.
I was gonna say, and he wasn't that far behind in lane. So
let's go to 24 minutes. He's at 25 stacks. What the hell did he do for 4 minutes?
He's a killer, man. He's a killer.
Let's go to 25 minutes. He's 25 stacks on the call. He's gotten 3 CS per minute.
Oh,
21. He made progress. Alright, now I need to see when he finished this. Still 21. Okay. 29 minutes. Still 21.
Are you sure he finished it? He did, right?
I tabbed when the game's over. He finished it, right? Okay, where's this Urgot? Where are you? Alright, there he is. Okay, 20, 19. Alright, how long does it take you to kill 100 minions? I must know. It's killing me. Oh, 4? No, don't recall. Just kill 4 minions. No!
Okay, he gets...
Okay, it's officially 30 minutes.
I think it's when they were at the base, maybe, is when he killed.
Yeah, okay. Okay, you literally win the game here. Okay.
There you go.
4.
Oh, no, he didn't. He's still at 4.
Just kill 100 minions. Oh, okay. Oh, slow down. These are just collateral damage at this point. 3, 2, 1. Hey, he's done. 31 minutes.
21.
It took him 31 minutes to kill 100 creeps.
And the thing is, he was not far behind, you know.
He wasn't that. He was being heavily LCS, which at some point I thought, oh, maybe the Urgot just sucks at laning against the Malphite. And then once I got to mid game and late game, I noticed that his call count was just not going down at all. And then I realized that he just sucks at farming.
Yep.
So 31 minutes to kill 100 CS. So that's give or take 3 CS every minute. 13 minions spawn per minute. So that is a kill rate of like 22%. That's very, very low CS percentage. I mean, ultimately it doesn't matter because he won the game, but it was not fun to watch his call and just to see that thing not go down. And this just in, our opponents can't be reached, so they probably DC'd, and they're auto into round 3. So does that mean they're playing the 3rd game now? Is this a 2-game cast?
Their mental went boom, okay?
Is this really how the losers bracket of Tier 4 Clash goes? Oh, we lost the game, let's give up. Because I haven't seen this part. I haven't seen this side of Clash yet. Maybe because I read somewhere that there's a disproportionately high surrender rate in Iron. There's like no, not surrender rate. There's a like pretty high disproportionate AFK rate in Iron. There's like the stat I saw was something like 33% of the games had an AFK. It's just really poor game quality down there. I'm not sure about giving up after you lose a game. Sure, your mental may be in pieces, but it's still fun playing it out.
Mental boom.
Mental boom. So it seems like they are in pick and ban. If they're autoed into round 3, then this is the last cast. And they're playing for, well, if they auto into round 3, that means they by default win round 2, so they're playing for 5th, 6th. I don't actually know how that works, but seems like their opponents are Silver 4, Silver 3, Bronze 1, Silver 3, and Silver 2. That's actually pretty high for a Tier 4 Clash, because usually I see spatterings of like Bronze and Irons. But a bunch of, mostly Silver. Bronze 1 is basically Silver 4. In all but name. We'll see how there's some real Bronze Zodia champions in these previews. So you see like Malphite, Cho'Gath, Zac. These are the original Bronze Zodias. And now we're just missing like a Mumu Shen and Blitzcrank. And it seems like there's a Kalista player here even. I'm so curious to see what low elo Kalistas look like, because Kalista is just not one of those champions where you can just casually play anymore, unfortunately. You need to be quite good at trading and coordination, because it's so easy to screw that champion up. So we'll see if they let Kalistas through. I'm in for a treat. It seems like there's some more threats aside from that. There's a Zac support, a Nunu jungle, and a Shaco player. A really high mastery point Shaco player. Wow. Those are a lot of spam Shaco games right there.
How much is it? Let me look.
400,000 mastery points on Shaco, 198 rank games.
That's why I'm surprised he didn't buy Rakan though. Rakan had almost 2 million. Or like 1.5 million.
Yeah, that's a 1.2 million mastery points on Rakan. Wow.
Yeah, that's why I'm still surprised he didn't ban Rakan.
That's basically a one trick.
His name has Rakan in it, Logan.
Yeah, his name is Rakan out too. Victory by default, the best victory. Alright, well, we'll head into Champ Select. Well, I can't spectator Champ Select. I can maybe get a peek over there, but nah, I won't do that.
That's a spoiler.
Yeah, those are spoilers. We'll skip pick and bans. I'm so curious what pick and ban comms looks like, but I'll spare myself the peek. I'll just go ahead and wait for the game to start and then hop in to see what we get.
Well, I was kind of there for a bit, and they might not ban Shaco.
Might not ban Shaco. I see.
But I was like, Shaco's a mental boom, as we saw yesterday.
Oh, Shaco is... Yeah, like there's technically a really easy way to beat a Shaco, but just nobody takes it in the situations that have been presented. You just don't go near one.
But we all know Shaco's a mental boom.
Yeah, Shaco is a champion that's on paper super easy to counter because he is very reliant on people walking into him, so you just don't walk into him.
Don't walk into him?
Yeah, but a good Shaco players either will A, exert enough pressure that you have to walk into him, which I surprisingly don't see at all, or B, a Shaco player tricks you into thinking that you can kill him, which makes you walk into him, which is a lot more common option.
And then you
realize
tables. And the turntables.
Shaco has two modes, full health and 0 HP. There's no in between.
Yeah.
Even if he's like 5 health, you shouldn't really go for that play. But like I said, this is an advice that I personally don't adopt. A really good way to beat the Shaco is just take Ignite. He can't Juke Quiz Deceive if he's ignited.
That is true. But like I said, Shaco is a mental boom.
Shaco is a mental boom. He
And
has
like I
really
said-
huge punish windows. Deceive lasts only 4 seconds with like a 9-second cooldown. Like it's just he needs setup before he could like he builds this terror he builds this haunted house of terrors and invites you in. But if you don't let him build it, you just keep running at him before he can set up, he's a very easy kill. So really the best way to beat him is vision control and don't take the bait, but in practice when games get chaotic, it's hard to not do that. He preys on the lack of preparation from the enemies, which unfortunately is quite prevalent. And there's a reason you don't see this pick in pro ever, just because with solid enough comms, you absolutely dismantle this pick.
Yeah, of course. Same with like a lot of other solo queue
Yeah.
champs. This is why you don't see them like Darius, like we mentioned Darius a lot.
Yeah.
He's only played by Broken Blade, but you know what? He's Broken Blade.
Darius is very like these champions are very exploitable. There exists subset of champions that they go into this category called I can do whatever I want to you, but I have to get to you first. Those are the types of champions that you never see in pro, even though they are usually a lot more obnoxious outside of the pro context. That's why this game is hard to balance.
Except for Broken Blade, who plays Darius.
Yeah, but Broken Blade does whatever he wants. Alright, let's get into it. So, we are 3 minutes away from game 2/3. This could be the last game if the information I've been given is correct. So, we'll walk down the matchups. We know which lane the red teams are going. So, it's going to be an Ornn top. It's going to be Fiddlesticks jungler, Gwen mid, and the bottom lane is Tristana Leona. I'm going to wager a guess, and this is them saying, hey, we already lost, so let's just practice stuff, because I've never seen any of these players on these champions, except for Leona.
Oh, I forgot. I was also here for the snippet where she's gonna go Gwen mid.
Yeah, okay,
I
so
was there for the snippet for that.
this might be a thing where it's like, hey, we've already lost, let's just practice stuff, which I can
he was
respect
like,
that.
It's time for Gwen mid. That's what he said.
I can respect that. The enemy team looks like they are probably still trying, because they have that's gotta be cannon mid, right? They have a Cho'Gath top cannon mid, Echo jungle, Silver Zyra, a mishmash of champions that wants to do different things. We'll see who can make their comps work. I will say these are the champions that you do not pick a Gwen with. Actually, no, Gwen's fine.
No, I think so. I think
Actually,
Gwen's
yeah, no,
fine.
you're right. Gwen is
This
fine.
is better. Yeah, this is better than the other.
It's not ideal, but it's good enough setup. It's not an ideal amount of
you
setup.
You have Leona, you have Fiddlesticks, and you have Ornn. So I think it should be okay.
Gwen is best because Gwen is built to shred through the back line into their front. So you want to play flank with Gwen in a place where you can get linear skill shots in. Fiddlesticks kind of goes against that, because now you want to flank at 2 different angles. But who knows, they might just let the Fiddlesticks run into them. It's not the best setup for Gwen, but it works for the purposes. It's enough CC for Gwen to do whatever she wants, and this is a very dual threat type of comp. It's hard for Fiddlesticks to shred people. He does a ton of damage, don't get me wrong, but if he's your damage threat, then you're probably playing the draft wrong. So they're looking to play the games through Gwen, they're looking to play the games through Tristana, and have Fiddlesticks be the CC setup, be the surprise engage, and Ornn as follow-up. So Ornn is somebody I could talk all day about, but we'll get to that we'll get to those situations when we see it happen in game. But for now, we're 5 seconds away. Let's jump into game 2/3 to see the fate of Team Fig against Team
Has
SMT.
YouTube been practicing on Ornn?
I don't recall James playing Ornn ever.
Yeah, that was like.
I've never seen him on this pick. I'm
You should
so
play
curious.
Play Scion. Scion's OP.
Sion's very good weak side because he doesn't need any resources at all to do what he does.
He'll be thick. Yeah, he'll be thick eventually, right?
You
So
can-
I'm like,
Sion's also unironically a really great champion to play if you're just stoned. You're like
You can
absolutely
itch your ass
blazed, you're
off.
just farming for like 30 minutes, and then you realize there's a team fight, and you mosey on over, and you have inexplicably 9,000 health.
yep. I actually think Scion's pretty good. He's a very annoying champion to go against.
Playing Sion takes as much brains as the Sion actual champion does in lore, which is to say
Yeah.
none. You just like walk around and then you randomly win.
And then you randomly get 9,000 health.
He's a very strange champion. It's like oh wait, it's Cho'Gath Strangle. It's a very strange champion. It's like an amalgamation of what a tank is supposed to be and how a tank is supposed to play. You can just turn your
Yeah.
brains off and just like there's a reason Sion's been traditionally associated with really meme ways of playing him. Like there's the ending Sion, there's a Sion strat where you used to suicide to a camp at level 1, so you TP to lane at level 2. That strat got killed when they increased TP cooldown at early long. But like there were really creative ways that you could min-max Sion back in the day.
Like I said, either way, Scion is a champion.
Is he a champion? I don't know. It just feels like he does whatever he wants and sometimes produce results. Ornn is kind of the opposite of that. You need to be surprisingly well calculated with Ornn. He isn't high maintenance, but he's very level dependent. He needs to hit level 14 at a very fast time, and he needs to hit level 17 faster than any other tank in the game, because that's where his true usefulness lies. So while playing Ornn can be pretty easy because it's hard to punish the pick in particular, it's difficult to actually make that work because you need to know how to constantly maximize your EXP gain. You need to know when to take trades, how to take trades, understand the brittle combos, because if you actually know what you're doing, you can win a lot of trades by proccing brittles 3 times with your full kit. But that also means if you miss an auto here and there, you will probably lose the trade. There are a lot of minor nuances to making Ornn work. You probably don't need to know any of it to have Ornn be Ornn, because he is just a stupidly tanky goat. But it's very easy for Ornn to just be reduced to a punching bag, in which case he's a very suboptimal pick. Also, I had no idea what we were talking about in our chat. Something about toasters. And XD. I don't want to read all that yet. Alright, let's get into the cast. We're going to have the constant arms race. Oh, Gwen started Q. Ooh, Gwen started Q. I don't know if I like that. Into an echo. We'll see. Scissors will completely miss. Echo just dashes behind her. And this seems like, yeah, that's E level 2. It's fine so far. Nothing terrible has happened 2.5 minutes in. God knows I've died earlier than that on Gwen. Ornn's gonna get poked out here a little bit. I wonder, since Ornn started corrupting Pot, does he have Time Warp Tonic? Yes, he does. Okay, that's why he opened up corrupting. And we're just going to play the laning phase straight. Nothing too fancy. There's no early level 2 aggression this time around. And if I had it my way, I just focus my camera on top and mid at the same time, because I'm so interested in these matchups. I really want to watch the Gwen, and I really want to watch the Ornn into Cannon matchup.
Oh, hello friends.
Hello, Mo.
Oh, I think we played the Kennen side of the one matchup, I think.
How did that
It's been a
go?
long time though. It's been a long time. I don't remember what happened.
It seems like Cannon's doing a fair bit of poke out here onto the Ornn.
That's what I always do with Kennen though.
Yeah.
So
But this is also a matchup where you consider Q max on Ornn. It's a serious last resort. You decide to go for it at level 4 when you're noticing, oh my god, I'm so far behind. He's not so
Yeah.
far behind. He doesn't need to.
I think for Ornn, Q into range is pretty good.
Yeah.
The Q max.
It's not awful. It's not something outlandish. It's not like Q max on Urgot where it's an absolute last resort. But
Yeah.
it's not outlandish. It's a fair bit of base damage on itself. W max is optimal. So if you're not getting heavily punished by Cannon, you could still go W max. The lane might not go your way after that, but
But I think a Q max into range matchup. So
it's fine.
More,
Yeah.
yeah, it's more reasonable.
Still suboptimal, but not like terribly bad. Now we are gonna have the good old farm fest here at bottom lane, except during a farm fest you don't really get outpoked by a Zyra like this. The Zyra and Sivir do form really strong poke. So there's two ways to go about it. Either you buy so many potions that you can heal it off, or you go for a snap engage. Sivir early on so far, not quite a champion. She opened up tier, so she has no tangible combat stats. Unfortunately, Tristana rocket jumps away and still tanks both sides of a boomerang, which means that heal is blown, and really without firing a shot, red team has already lost the fight. The Fiddlesticks is going to come in while Urgot is building an item in the back, so that is really good coordination.
Not Urgot, that's Ornn, but yes.
Yeah, sorry, Ornn. I keep wanting to say Urgot for some reason. I look at James,
That's
I look at the
his
name, I
name.
was like, oh, that's
Because
Urgot.
that's Urgot.
I look at young Pikachu, it's like, oh, that's Urgot. Yeah,
You should change
Fiddle
his
goes
name
for a
to
gank.
Urgot.
Yeah. Fiddle goes for a gank, what at the same time Ornn is building an item, so, you know, Cannon lives.
Gwen missing all the
Gwen,
needles.
no needles. Up in CS against the Echo, and Echo's low on mana, but Ignites are still up for both sides. So, this is not terrible for the Gwen. It is now awful because this minion wave is now unfarmable, so it's hard to punish the Echo. If you go for the snip under the tower, I think you can literally just die if you're not careful. So you should
This
just back.
Echo's CSing. He hit the wrong minion.
This is where you rely on the fact that bronze players literally cannot CS under tower. And you just leave them to their own devices. Cho'Gath is going to come in for a beautiful gank to stall the Gwen by about 5 seconds. A highly worthwhile encounter that I'm so glad he took this trip to mid instead of doing anything else. Now we have 7 minutes in and nobody died. So that's either a new record or just both teams decided to play really passively. In terms of CS wise, more or less tied. Blue team has a minor lead in their top and bottom. Inferno Drake is alive and Echo pings it out. But I'm not sure what he wants a level 5 Cho'Gath to do about that. Cho'Gath does have pretty good objective secure because you have 3 smites essentially worth of damage on your kit. Feast does a crap ton early on. But soloing the dragon is a little bit out of the question now. That's too much opportunity cost for it to be worth it. Zyra goes for more plant poke. And this is where, like, at some point, you gotta say enough is enough and try for an all-in engage, because the longer this lane goes, the more you're gonna get poked out.
Yeah, Zyra's
Zyra's
very
actually
obnoxious.
quite forward with some of these plants. They're actually punishable. If you see her walks up to plant a few seeds, just go for a Zen's Blade play. And if you're full health, you win that fight. Sivir still has barely any tangible stats. Of getting the Dirk means that it's already quite enough, but there's first blood. Fiddlesticks drops, and another Boomerang Blade kills the Tristana. Sivir's gonna flash in and gets the kill on the Tristana. Unfortunately, that was a misplay by the Leona because Tristana already landed an auto attack onto a Sivir that's guaranteed to be dead, but because Leona auto attacked after that, the kill credit did not go to Tristana. So that is unnecessary gold denied from the ADC. Gwen dies, trades 1v1 against the Echo. Cho'Gath comes in to finish her off, and Cho'Gath wasses in, picks up a double kill just by stepping on top of Leona. He is now 2 kills. Cannon pops Slicing Maelstrom, going in for the damage, and then Ornn's like, hey, I'm Ornn, I don't take damage. That's going to force out the Cannon Flash. Beautiful Ram and amazing Pillar gets the solo kill. Warren does it. He's made a play. And Cannon dies solo. Blue team will secure the dragon because they won the bot lane fight, but meanwhile top lane is a total embarrassment here for team SMT. Which is TSM backwards, but also doesn't stand for TSM backwards.
SMT is like moving the T to that.
It's mostly TSM backwards.
Solo mid team.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big brain. What the hell?
Solo mid team.
It's not quite backwards. It's good enough that I'm gonna say it's backwards. Oh, the boomerangs are gonna take a huge chunk of life out of the Sivir. Not the Sivir, the Tristana.
You know what's crazy? I don't think that much lethality Sivir, but I feel like lethality Sivir is so annoying.
Boomerang Blade does crazy base damage. That's why the lethality works on her.
Yeah, exactly. But I haven't seen. Okay, I played like against Sivir twice today in ARAMs. None of them went lethality. Like, and I'm like, good.
The normal ADC Sivir build is unfortunately just not good anymore. So if you see Sivir, it's lethality Sivir. And the fact that people don't do it in ARAM makes me fearful for this server, honestly.
Because I'm always like, why? Lethality Sivir is so strong.
It's also pretty much the only Sivir build nowadays. Ooh, there it is. The Warren goes for another trade, but the cannon slices through him and stuns him up. So that's gonna be the end of that. And Warren goes for a first item Spectral Cow, which is so season 10 that I'm not even gonna comment on that. The fear drives the cannon away, but Warren seems more preoccupied with farming. And there's the damage coming down, flashing away from the Cho'Gath, but now there's a very angry dinosaur pouncing on the goat. There's a re-engage coming out. The Crucial doesn't get a fear, and he becomes a free meal for the Cho'Gath, and that's gonna be a dead Warren as well. Meanwhile, bot lane, Tristana dies to what I can only assume is a boomerang. I know these boomerang spams are annoying, but you gotta go in when you're full health. Just force something. It's not entirely outlandish to lose it. Sitting under tower, constantly getting poked by plants is a certainly guaranteed loss. Tristana has an insane amount of kill pressure onto squishies early on with just 2 abilities, so you could definitely constantly force something onto a squishy Zyra, especially when she's overstepping like this to plant plants. The ship has sadly sailed. It's
kind of hard.
Killing them is pretty much out of the question now, because they took way too long to start doing it. But this is where now you're on damage control mode. You say, how little can we die as opposed to how much can we kill them.
The Spectral Cow.
That's Spectral Cow into a null magic mantle for what I'm assuming is Merc Treads.
And in fairness, there are 4 AP damage champs on Blue
There
team
is.
side.
There is, but you still
But
go
Spirit
Mythic
Visage
first.
Visage is not an item.
Yeah.
That's true as well.
Visage is just about the last item you want. There's a reason nobody buys this item anymore, because it only builds into 1 item, and that item happens to be garbage.
Yeah.
If you need an MR item, if you need to rush an MR item, get a Mythic. If you need to rush a super MR item, get Force of Nature. In no world is Spirit Visage considered useful anymore.
Visage was
we're in a world
back
where
in the
like
day.
we're in a world where unless your name is Dr. Mundo, you pretty much never buy that item.
Visage was so good back in the day.
Yeah, but
Sadly, it's not anymore.
it's
You guys
weird
remember
because
back when,
they
you guys
didn't
remember
even.
back when Dead Jake gave 475 health?
Yeah,
Now it gives 300, guys.
I know.
I'm so heartbroken.
yes,
I
MR
know.
items suck.
Why
We've
is
been
it?
through this conversation time and time again.
This is why no one buys Visage though.
This is why 5 AP works, by the way, because nobody can itemize against MR. Cannon goes in for another trade, and there's a Crowstorm for the turn. Fiddlesticks Crowstorm finishes him off, and the Ornhorn gets nothing here. Gwen puts up the mist, gets the dodge. That's the first time she's ever put up the mist on camera that I've noticed. Our first item, Riftmaker here into the Echo.
They just never show mid lane, okay?
Yeah, that's true. The camera never shows me. It's obviously not the first time that Gwen's pressed W, I hope. It's just the first time I've
probably
seen
not.
it.
Yeah, the first time the camera shows us.
Turret plating will soon fall.
Now, unfortunately, bot lane dies again to the Sivir lethality build. a super annoying build to go up against. It's just
This is yeah. This is why I'm
awful.
so confused that no one built it on AIM.
You should be building it everywhere.
I know. That's why I'm confused when I go against it, and I'm like, no one's building it.
Oh, here we go. Here's the Gwen lying in ambush. Probably showed yourself a little bit too early, but except Cho'Gath's Rupture goes all the way west. He's predicting like Gwen's gonna dash flash into the cache of the sort of thing, but there's gonna be the rest of the fight breaking out. Sivir is pretty fed. The silence is there. The boomerang blade comes out. Gwen survives on a sliver of life. Flash forward from the Sivir kills the Gwen. The flash reaction is a little bit too slow, and Sivir picks up her 5th kill here.
Both times my Aaron game.
Oh no, just that.
Oh,
Ooh, rocket jumping into a tower with that health is a very brave endeavor. Good thing is blue team spontaneously decided to stop sieging at the time.
both times they went Kraken, which is
Kraken is also
Oh.
objectively the worst choice on Sivir.
yeah, like Gale Force is
Gale Force is
like-
best. Shield Bow, you can explain it away. Kraken is unforgivable.
yeah. Both times I went against the Kraken Sivers on the AIM.
You would probably do that if you just never ever touch the ADC role and you're like, ADC, Kraken, which is a very backward thought, but the kill score in this game says it's 9-6, but the goal league kind of betrays that. There's 2 towers to 1, and blue team has taken significantly more place and objectives. So across the map, I would say blue teams are heavily advantaged. Gwen is learning just how short the snip range is. It's a very brutal lesson to learn. With Cho'Gath going in for a 1v4 play, and he is probably not gonna make it out.
Yeah, he's
Please tell
probably
me he's
gonna
dead.
die.
Well, Cannon's gonna come in and save him. Can they at least kill this one Cho'Gath? The answer is yes. Gwen's gonna dash over the wall to save herself. The Crowstorm comes in doing absolutely no damage and applying no CC. Sivir, no boomerang. No, that's not Sivir, that's Echo. Wow,
That's
that,
Echo.
that looked like Sivir. Echo has no damage, he just drops dead, and Cannon's gonna lightning rush away. So now they just die twice for no reason.
I mean, that's a plus for red team.
It is a plus for red team. They find a small breath of life. It is a tiny breath of life, but a breath of life regardless. Meanwhile, top lane. So the thing about rushing Mythic on Ornn is you will likely be level 13 before you hit 2 items. That's just the way experience works. And when you hit level 13, you want an extra spike in power, and you want your 1 completed item to be the Mythic. He's still working on it. The Bombies is there, the components to the Aegis are there, and I hope he's building Aegis.
I'm pretty sure he should be building Sunfires. I don't
Yeah.
see
Sunfires
any
is-
other choice.
Aegis doesn't build
For-
into anything except Sunfires, which is weird, because you think all the tank mythics should build out of an Aegis, but no. So we're just
Yeah,
going
but
to kill off
Aegis
the other
also
one.
goes into the Gargoyle Stone Plate. So there's that.
I hate building Aegis.
Good thing is only required for 2 items. That's a strange thing about Season 11, where there's a lot of components now that are exclusive. If you see one thing, you pretty much
Yeah.
know, like, oh, there's only one item this can make, and this is on a surprisingly high amount of items. Like, Aegis can
Yeah,
only
like-
make 2 items, and one of them is a mythic. If you
Reaching
see a
Mirror
lost
again?
chapter, that's like 2 items it could possibly be. If you see Verdant Barrier, it can only be Banshees. A Leeching Leer can only be Riftmaker. There's a surprising lack of diversity coming out of components into final items.
Wait, Lost Chapter is 3, Logan.
Yes, last chapter is 3. I did say like 2, but there's like
It's 3.
yeah, Alternator builds into, I believe, 2 or 3 items. Oh, there's an engage coming down here. Crowstorm's
Okay,
coming in.
great.
Where completely whiffs for no reason. Slicing Maelstrom controls the backline. Sivir is free hitting. By free hitting, I mean walking back and forth, but that is enough damage to end the fight regardless. So far, it is a 3 for 2 in favor of red team, with Tristana rocket jumping in. Almost dies the boomerang, dodges it in the last second, but not the second one. Not gonna get lucky again. Sivir is taking out a lot of damage. Ornn charges into the corner of a wall, and that's gonna be the end of him as well. Now it's just a Gwen surviving. Does the Gwen have miss? If you have miss, you can turn and kill them. You do have miss. Turn and kill them. Okay, never mind. And it seems like the Gwen is going for Nasher second, except you're building the one component you want first, but she's building it last. You want the recurve bow first when you're going for Nashers.
The attack speed.
Yep, the attack speed is what Gwen wants out of Nashers, not anything else. Unfortunately,
It's
building
the same thing
recurve
as-
last.
Like Azir,
Yeah.
same thing. You kind of want the attack
Or-
speed on the Azir.
Diana.
Or Diana. Well, even the Mordekaiser fed enough, and if you want to flex on Mordekaiser, you pick up a
Yeah.
Nashus.
I think Diana like depends.
We're in a world where Diana doesn't need that item anymore.
Need it. Yeah, and doesn't really need it. She can
No,
use it
no,
if she
you guys
really
are
wants
crazy. You
to.
guys are crazy. Conqueror Diana with Nashor Suit is the highest win rate build. You guys are crazy.
In the jungle?
Yes.
Yeah, but that's in the jungle. Talking about my mid lane experience mode, where I just burst them instead of.
I mean, you're
auto
talking to a
attacking
guy
them.
that spams Lilia top, so the whole jungle point is lost on me.
Goddamn animals.
It's the same thing as.
Oh, there
Well,
it
it's
is.
the same thing as like yesterday when they played against two Shakos, and the highest win rate Shako build is with
AD.
like
Crack
with
AD.
AD.
Yeah.
Not even Kraken. You can go Duskblade, and
Yeah,
then
but-
still like it slaps. Like
Kraken seems more hopeless to go up against. That's all I'll say.
yeah.
Blue team sieges down another tower.
It's so much worse.
So far in this game, they've been pretty firmly in control.
But like I said,
Oh, there's a Crow Storm coming in from behind, but he gets spotted out, so he's gonna rocket bell back to his own base. That is overall a fully wasted Crow Storm. And Cannon's gonna pop his ultimate. Gwen's been caught out. Flash away to save herself. And the Cho'Gath's coming in. He wants the Nom. He doesn't get the Nom because he doesn't have it up. So why did he flash? One can only wonder why. But here comes the Herald charge. The Herald wants the inhibitor as well. Winding up point blank. And there's the bunk right into the structure. That's going to be an inhib down here for red team. And this does look like a hopeless game. They're still trying to hold down. But it's one of those games where it's lost without either team really firing a decisive shot. And you just slowly bleed out over the map. These are the games where it makes you lose focus a lot faster because you're like, wow, what are we doing? But also, these are the games that are a lot more boring to play. Now, Gwen's gonna come in to try to salvage the situation. Zyra makes sure that E goes the completely other direction. Gwen's unfortunately ran out of the ability to chase. This is why Gwen cannot start fights like that. You have to be very particular about how you fight with a Gwen. Echo's gonna come in. He wants one last tap onto the Gwen. He's not gonna get a beautiful CC chaining him down. Chrono Break not gonna be usable. He's already dead. Once again, Ornn charges into the corner of the wall, stopping his charge short. He's gonna call the Ornn Horn, bonks it into the wrong target. Cannon is not the person you should be chasing here. They're going for the Cho'Gath, which is the correct guy, but because the CC was not applied properly, he is gonna make it out. The Blast Cone gets him out.
that healing.
Wow.
Oh, also interesting how Kennen went Dark Night Harvester
Yeah, Night Harvester Cannon.
instead of Photo, or like Rocket
Well, it doesn't seem to matter because there's a Night Harvester damage coming in. He's gonna run down the bot lane instantly, and Ornn is next to die. And Gwen's recalling in the brush. Really, just toss a Q in there. What's the harm? But Gwen has to solo defend against this, and that's it's not really defensible at this stage in the game. Silver is 10-1.
Holy crap!
They can
and
end
he
the
has
game off
3
this
items.
push. They can end the game here. This is certainly the end of the game, right? No, never mind. Zyra kills herself. Cannon's gonna
He has
re-engage.
3 items. Holy.
Yeah, Silver is so far ahead. This doesn't seem like a silver level Silver. Like, maybe she just got really fed in lane, but this is not the stats that you see from a Silver. This might be one of those fabled smurfs that I've been hearing so much about.
She is like at 188 CS.
Yeah,
At
that's
22 minutes.
high. That's
That's pretty high. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's pretty high.
but
Sometimes I don't even
granted,
get to that point.
she won lane really hard. But
Yeah,
also,
but
this is
still, that's
this is a really
that's a
high. This is suspiciously high CS score.
yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes like at this point, I'm like, I'm not even at that like.
You expect
CS
for like
score.
silver average to be like 160 or something. But to squeeze out 40 extra CS, that's insane at 22 minutes. Now, red team is going to contest the Drake? I don't think they can contest this. They're just gonna let it go. But unfortunately, Ornn's already overstepped. He gets
Oh,
chained
no.
down. He sounds the Aura Horn, but the CC is still coming out hard and fast. Can he make it out? He goes unstoppable. Nicely times the W. Does seem like he's going to make it out because he is a tanky goat that doesn't die. The Crowstorm goes into the back line. The rest of the damage is coming down. Cannon has yet to pop Slicing Maelstrom. Gwen is still here, but the Cannon in the choke. Not going to hit anybody because he doesn't know how to position. Or is being chased down by the Cho'Gath. He's coming in. He wants one more hit. It will do it. Leona solar flares her own teammate and not going to hit the Cho'Gath at all. So that's going to be a dead Ornn as well. That's going to be Dragon's 3 bodies for nothing in return.
This is also the scary thing about Cho'Gath. He gets so freaking big and like tanky.
Cho'Gath melts to a lot of different types of damage, but he's also very good at shutting off those types of damage.
Yeah, exactly.
And there it is, a teleport right into red team's base. Seems like blue team says that with this teleport, I will end the game. But can they? The slicing damage coming out from the lightning rush onto Tristana, almost killing her outright. Seems like blue team is not going for the structure after teleporting into red team's base, which seems silly to me. But it is going to be the end of the game regardless.
They want the kills.
Almost certainly the end of the game. The boomerang blade just does so much damage. Tristana dies to what seems like a minion or something. Double kill goes over. Crowstorm into the fray once again. The replay file ended. So
I want to see if they got the kills though. What the heck?
the replay ended, so the game's over. But we gotta watch this. Hold on. We need to see the last few seconds of the game. Hold on, we gotta see this. It's like we know the game's over, but yeah.
Is this Clash?
It is Clash. I think
it was James's Clash.
Yeah. And yeah, that was game 3, so we do end the Clash coverage, but before we do so, we gotta watch this fight. We gotta see how many kills Crowstorm picked up. So it's 24-41. We'll bring the timer here.
Yeah.
Alright, we gotta watch how this ends. So there's the engage coming out. Leona dies. Yes. And here comes the Crowstorm. Oh, look at how low those health bars are. Except no, they are not low at all. Quadra kill. And that's how the game ends. Now, it's somewhat the expected result because it seemed like there were several first-time champions coming out from Red Team, but still, that was the end of the game. That's the end of Clash coverage for day 3. Unfortunately, not the best result that I'm sure that Team Fig was hoping for, but given that our previous 2 finishes, can't be too mad about this one. Oh, hope you enjoyed it, and there's gonna be another Clash day tomorrow. I can't wait to cast that one.
Yeah.
Yay!
Wow, that was a respectable 6th place finish.
By default.
By default.
Hey, we don't have to talk about that. We don't have to talk about that.